I'm just going to try and explain how I think consciousness and, well, the moment is the fifth dimension, and consciousness is basically our sense, our awareness of that moment. So, anyway, it's all just based on one real simple pattern that I realized. So it goes something like this. So, the zeroth dimension is a point. So that's like, to me, that's like the concept of existence. But it's something that exists, but it's infinitely small, which is a point in math, at least. And then first dimension is a line. So how do you get from a point to a line? Well, if you just take a point, and then you just take another point, another point, another point, infinitely many points next to each other, then the result of that is a line. So, okay, to get from 0D a point to 1D a line, you put infinitely many of the 0D dimension next to each other to get to the first dimension. Then, from a line, second dimension is a plane, so like a sheet of paper. So to get from a line to a plane, you just take a line, 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 infinitely many lines next to each other makes a plane, which is the second dimension. Okay, so same pattern. Now third D. I mean, we all know what 3D is. It's 3D, like some TVs. But anyway, it's like all of space at any given point in time. So to get from a plane to 3D, you just take a plane, another plane, another plane, another plane. Infinitely many planes, like slices of the world, make up the world next to each other. So that's 2 to 3D, same pattern. You take infinitely many 2D things next to each other and creates the third dimension. Okay, so then the fourth dimension is time. Well, space-time is the first four together, but usually we think of time as the fourth dimension. Now, to get from a 3D thing to the fourth dimension, you just take infinitely of that 3D thing again. So let's think of, so 3D is like all of space, right now, in time. Like, there's one 3D thing, another, every time I clap my hands. But time is actually infinitely many of those 3D worlds next to each other. So right now there's a 3D world, right now there's another, right now there's another. And what space-time is basically infinitely many spaces next to each other in different times. Okay, so that's 4D. Then basically we just apply the same pattern to figure out what the fifth dimension would be. So we take infinitely many space-times next to each other. Okay, so what would that look like? I mean, I think basically it's what consciousness is. It's what's being present here and having choice is. Because right now I, as a conscious being, have this space-time, all of space and all of time that I know, my future and my past. But then I can go, ha! And now I have a space-time where I did that, all of future and all of past. But before I did that, I also imagined a space-time in which I didn't do that. And then between those different space-times that I made up, I chose to make that action. So we're all actually always faced with infinitely many of those choices. Do I point this way? Do I jump? Do I breathe? Do I blink an eye? Some that we choose consciously, some subconsciously. But anyway, that we all consist of that infinitely many space-times. And so I think consciousness then would be the fifth dimension, because infinitely many space-times next to each other makes consciousness. But then I started to think about it more and realized that actually where all those space-times are is now, in the moment, like right now. All of the future and all of the past exists here right now. And so consciousness is actually how much can we sense right now? How much can we sense the present, basically? I guess that's about it. I mean, it's pretty cool because it kind of means that we can know things outside of time and we can affect things outside of time, and that, well, basically that we're opening up a higher dimension of being able to do things. But that's that.